Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video I'll be going through the last of the positions with the DPP for the batters and bowlers, and I'm actually surprised to see that we only have 28 players, but I can basically tell you that I would say a good 19, 20 are probably relevant, I would say, give or take. Maybe 21 are going to be relevant this season out of the 28. So it is probably still going to be a very long video in that, but let's just crack on in and get the job done here. So Matt Short, and I know a lot of people are probably going to select him, rightfully so. He's a guy that I'm looking at selecting as well, given that he is a guy that is going to be highly, I think, owned throughout the year, and that's just because he has been the number one player pretty much throughout the season. Let me just bring this up as well. Adelaide have the doubles very early on, so he's a guy that I think even most will hold through the bye round in round 6 that they have, but the two early doubles without the bye are actually really critical. And so yeah, I think he's going to be, especially with there being potentially no Maxwell, potentially no Webster, and potentially Hardy being just a smoke screen almost in a way, or maybe just a red flag, or a trap, as some would say. I think Matt Short becomes a definite option, especially if Fabian Allen isn't there for round 1, which is still, it's probable that he'll be there, but we don't know exactly if he'll be there per se. Let's go back to this one here, and then Maxwell, number 2. Yeah, he would be a definite buy if he was playing and confirmed to be bowling, but we don't even know if he's in line to be playing at this point. Injuries as well as everything else just means that he is potentially just a massive trap. So yeah, I just don't know about this, whether to play him, because he might just be a batter only in the first couple rounds, and we know that he can absolutely destroy it with the bat. We know he can score 60 odd with the bat, but is he really going to, with the bat and in the field, score 80 per game? I don't think so early on. So I think maybe you could get a guy that's going to score maybe 20 less, maybe 15 less than Maxwell, or so in the batter slot. That's also a bowler, and then you could just spend that extra 80, 100, 120k. And spend that on a guy that's probably going to make cash, generate cash, etc. Or you can spread that out across 2 guys, etc. So say you have Maxwell and you split that to 120 guy, you'd have 120k left over, and then you can split that again into almost 3 lots of 40k extra and put that on 3 39.5k guys, and then you get up to the bench that a lot of us are going to have at this point in time. Jamie Overton, number 3, I think he might be one of the biggest steals at the moment, or just, I would say more so the biggest, the safest play in a sense, given that he's not really playing at the moment, so there's no real way that he can injure himself. He's also just getting back into the groove of things as well, and I thought he played really well in the England T20 series. And I think with the round 2 and 4 double, he becomes one of the more valuable players. And with all the stars falling down, we know that the stars don't generally have really good backups as well. So their backups will probably get games as well if Webster and Maxwell are down. And that just means more points probably to the lesser known stars players, etc. And like, I think the stars aren't going to be that good this year if Webster and Maxwell are out. So Jamie Overton starts to become a more known product that is probably safer, even though he had that injury scare a couple of weeks ago. I think it was surgery or whatever on his back or whatever, but he's come back. Paul Walter, another guy that I think could do really well this year again, has shown to score pretty well throughout the year. Did have a really poor round 4 game where I think that was the rain out game or whatever, and that probably stuffed him over. But if you take that into consideration now, that rain out game, I'm pretty sure, fancy stats here, you can see 1 with the bat and 4 dot balls against the Sydney Thunder. Let me actually just check if that was actually a rain out game or not, because that would be kind of crucial to check that, but I don't know if this will allow me to do it. But yeah, that was, let's go all series. Let's just go back here. 21st of August, 3rd of October, 2nd of August. just go back even further. Where's the BBL? BBL 13. Nope, I don't want Marsh Cup. I want BBL 13. Then we're looking for the Sydney Thunder versus the Heat game and what happened at that game. 1 second here, because that would be kind of crucial to see what happened in that game. And Sydney Thunder at the Gabba, was it? Nope, it was the, let's just see here. Yeah, against the Sydney Thunder at the Gabba, even though that says that should have been at the Sydney Showgrounds. Let's just see if I have an earlier game for that, just to see, because that doesn't look right. Manuka Oval, that's where he scored a 101, so it should be this game here. 1 second, let me bring this back up at the Gabba here. The Heat won, he scored 1 with the bat, and then with the ball had none for 34 off 3. So yeah, he just had a shocker of a game that game. So that wasn't actually a rain out. It was the Sixers game that he had a rain out at the Gabba, I believe. And this was, I think, a rain-affected game as well, and he still got an 86 there. So it just shows his scoring potential. I think if the injury players get up for Perth, and Hardy probably won't bowl as much, and I don't really want to rely on him as a batter. So Paul Walter starts to come into the scenario there, because then again also you have the fact that Nessa probably is going to be out from what I've heard. So that means that Paul Walter probably gets an even better run at things, which is just good. Him getting 4 overs instead of 3 is 1 better, and that's just really good. So yeah, look at that. In case for round, 3 that they have their double? I believe so. So yeah, I think that he is one guy that you should be targeting or trying to target for round 3. Because 1, he's cheaper than Bartlett, and 2, he should get an expanded role on Bartlett. Hardy, we sort of already talked about him a little bit. These top line guys, they all sort of jam in together, especially a lot of these guys, because they were in the first 3 weeks doubles, or have 2 in the first 4. So Hardy's a guy that, like, I just don't know, to be honest with you, because he's had those really big games, but then also had really bad games. But then again, also, if you just look at his stats here, fancy stats from last year. Let's just go to 2023. 602 points in 10 games with 328 runs. That's at an average of 35, 40. And then he took also 4 wickets. So he didn't really add much with the ball, to be honest, only 38 dot balls. Whereas if you look at Paul Walter and his stats, you'll see that he added way more with the ball, I would think. 13 wickets. 39 dot balls, so 1 more dot ball, and I think a little bit more economy rate bonus, but per se, or maybe even less, I don't remember, just slightly more. So Hardy does a lot of his point scoring. Over half his point scoring is with the bat, and if he just has a down season with the blade, it could be a little bit worrisome. Take, for instance, this season here, the 309 that he scored in, 21-22? Yeah, look at that. When he has a down season with the bat, that wasn't anything to do with the ball that season, and he just had a down year with it. And, I mean, he did only take, 3 wickets rather than, the 4 or 5 that he's been taking in other seasons. But, yeah, he's 3 wickets, 4 wickets, so it was just a down season with the blade, and he averaged 26 less. So there is that worry with Hardy if we get the likes of Richardson, Berendorf, Ty, Morris all fit, as well as potentially Agar and Connolly and Turner back bowling. Hardy, does he actually get a rollover with 4 seamers and 2 genuine spinners, plus also Turner as well, who was a good bowler as well? So that's the problem I have with Hardy, is just the Perth Scorchers lineup. It's just so stacked with all-rounders effectively in Turner, Cooper Connolly, Ashton Agar, if Ashton Agar plays, and Aaron Hardy himself. They have 4 genuine all-rounders. And so, yeah, it just is. They basically have their opening quicks and then 4 all-rounders, basically, is what they're going to run with. And then a keeper in there. But they could also have, Finn Allen, I'm pretty sure, is a keeper anyway. So they could just run with the 2, and then just another specialist batsman, and then 4 all-rounders, 4 bowlers or 5 bowlers, etc. Nessa, probably not going to play early on. Bo Webster, another guy, we sort of talked about him, got called up to test duty 2 days ago, and then absolutely confirmation a day ago. And that's worrying. it's worrying because of what the news we've heard about Mitch Marsh, that he's struggling to get through overs, especially because they could do something with Bo Webster and play him. They could drop Marnus Labuschagne, but I don't think they bat Bo Webster at 3. Maybe they bat someone else at 3. Maybe they knock McSweeney down and open with Head or something like that. I don't think Bo Webster probably bats 3. Maybe they bat Smith 3 and Bo Webster 4. That's what they could do, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think he's in line for a test debut. And if he is, then it means that he's not going to be playing BBL, which could be worrisome. Daniel Sands, a guy that we're just looking at for round 5. We get a massive look at him early on in the single game weeks because you want to be targeting those doubles. Even though he's a really good player, so he could beat out players on the double. Don't expect him to. Mitch Marsh, test duty, simple as that. Nikhil Chowdhury, I just think much the same of the likes of Sams. He's more of a batter than a bowler, unlike Sams, but he has that late bye, like Sams. So as you see here, be relevant in that 6 to 9 period, but not in the, well, probably be relevant in the 8 to 9 period. Him, Jordan, and Meredith I'll already have. Maybe McDermott, maybe, or maybe even like Paddy Dooley or something like that, or a Tim David will be relevant in that period. It's hard to say because the bowlers for Hobart aren't necessarily the greatest, but we'll get so much of a run at it to see, and then that'll be a simple fix there. Jack Edwards, a guy that I don't think I have currently, but yeah, could easily find his way back into the side for me. And yeah, 136.5k is, I think he's a really good price and has that early double. I just want to see why is he not in my side? It's a big question. Stoinis, yeah, it's not in my side at the moment. I'll probably find a way to get him back in anyway. But yeah, so probably should be in my side, to be honest with you. Let me get this filter back running. And a guy that I've really had throughout pretty much the whole of the preseason. So yeah, I think a guy that I'll be looking at, especially because they have a pretty good run to start, I'm pretty sure. If I just go to 24-25, you'll see what I mean by this. They've got Melbourne Renegades, Sydney Thunder, Melbourne Stars, and Brisbane Heat, and then Hobart as well. So out of their first 5 games, they've got 4 easier matchups, I would think. So I think he could go really, really large here. And being down, well, Curran not being at the club anymore, and more so going, Chohane will just replace Murphy or Sock himself. And then you have Vince, obviously. And who was their third guy that they brought in? Akil Hussein's going to probably also replace Murphy/O'Keefe when they would run the double. So they really haven't actually replaced Tom Curran in an essence, I guess, in his batter slot. So that means Jack Edwards, even with a fully fit side with Daniel Hughes back, will just get that 6 or 7 slot, which is a really profitable slot for him, as well as bowling 4 overs with the new rock could be really, really profitable. Sutho, just out injured, I think, at the moment, or touch and go, so that's a watch there. Travis Head, Cooper Connolly, etc. And I'm actually thinking about it now, just thinking about Sutherland. If he gets back fit, whether I just go no to Hardy and then just go Jack Edwards, Will Sutherland, and just stack up on those 130k guys, that could be an option there now, just thinking about it. But we'll have to wait and see. This is what I'll just talk about it here quickly. Just do this, and then just go Edwards. You can just slot down here, and then Sutherland, etc. can go down there. And then that would be what I'm basically referencing there. And you see that there. That could easily be a side that I pull out come round 1. Or even bump Edwards to like an Abbott there, potentially as well. Or potentially get someone else up to an Abbott or something. That could be what I do there as well, just because it is what it is there. And then we go back to this. We're going to have to reset the filter again, but that was just showing how you could really, Hardy could be a trap, and that's why I'm just sort of worried about it a little bit, and that's why I'm hunting maybe in this sort of 130k region for someone, effectively an all-rounder. So Sutherland, yeah, I do like him if he does come back and he does bowl some overs, but also I could be swayed into getting someone else in that region, but there isn't really any all-rounders in that region, so I may go for go Sutherland down to like an Abbott there or something like that, and then maybe even I could go Philippi, but then I do like the Joe Clark region, but yes, that's more so a talk about a main video rather than this talk about the all-rounders. I do go on tangents like that, But I do like Sutherland if he does actually play and bowling 4 overs. If he's bowling 3+ overs, Sutherland, I'm fully on the train. I just don't know if he's going to bowl 3+ overs, which is the big issue. Heads, international duty, don't worry about him. Cooper Connolly, injured at the moment. He's a guy that I've actually had in and out of my squad, to be honest, at the moment. And just, yeah, I just don't know if he necessarily plays, simple as that. Because he's broken his hand, much to the same of me, almost to a certain extent. Join me in that, but yeah, he should be back. I think round 3 he'll be back, so maybe he's back just after their double, I think. They have the round 2 double here, as you see, so he could be back in here, but Ashton Turner by then, if he's not back by then, if him and Agar aren't back by then, Ashton Turner and potentially even Hardy will have gone nuts, and that would be really good. So Ashton Turner, if he can get 30, 40k in the first 3 weeks, job done. Job successfully done. Can bring him down to a 50 or 60k that potentially is making cash. And then, yeah, that'll be that, I think. Fabian Allen, we just need to watch him. He's been really out of form in JG. He's done a really good analysis of this and kept on popping up about this. And I completely agree with him. So I'm not going to start with him. But I'm going to jump on the train because he has the role. Like, this is one of those ones that if he does really well in round 1, if he plays round 1, does really well, I am jumping on it no matter what. I am jumping on if he does really bowl well and has that role. Because role and then also form, it's just bound to work more times than not. So, yes, he's got a really bad form leading up to it. But I feel like he's not in the no-go category. He's more in the watch and wait category rather than the start with category for these internationals. I know I'm breaking these up. Bethel, playing international cricket and just got out like 20 minutes or so ago, 30 minutes or so ago, to a good ball by, I think it was Nathan Smith, in Test cricket for 10. So he just got a good seed, to be honest with you. And he, again, much the same as Fabian Allen. I don't know his role necessarily. Is he going to bat 6? Is he going to bat up the order also in T20 cricket? And how many is he going to bowl with in tandem with Adam Zampa is a big question. But we'll just have to wait and watch with him. He might be a round 4 type of guy, given his price tag. Hayden Kerr back to Prem cricket on the weekend, and he looked all right as well. I think he took like 1 for 12, I want to say. Let me just quickly look that up for you, hastily, I guess. And I thought he could be the game breaker for the Sydney Sixers, given that he kind of comes in that sort of 6-7 region. Let me just see. Is it this one that we want? Hayden Kerr, no runs, 3 wickets, 2 for 31. Got a first baller in grade cricket, I think, on the weekend or last weekend. And then did he bowl or whatever? No, that would be that there. So let me go to this one. And he took 2 for 31. I think he's also taken 1 for 12, I think, on the... he took 2 for 25 and 2 for 31, it looks like he's taken. Or is it 1 for 31? Or 1 for 25? I don't know exactly what I'm looking at. But yeah, he's done all right, I think. And yeah, so he's come back and he's performed pretty well, I would think. And that's a good sign as well for that, to be honest with you. So that is definitely a good sign that he's come back and he's bowling all right. I just want to check his other stats or what season is this. That's 22-23. So that is his old profile. So with regards to Hayden Kerr, my little tangent there, I think he's in a really good position to be able to average around that mid-40s. And he is priced, give or take. He's kind of in this odd spot where I think he's priced about 35. So he probably has about 10 points of upside. As you see here, 45, 54, 0 and 15 that year. So he's had 2 years of really good performances, as well as 1 year where he didn't have as much game time and didn't really have to score as much. But yeah, that 22-23 campaign was really, really good by him, as well as the 21-22 campaign. So, yep, priced at 105. I think he's a watch just to see his role. But it could be a sneaky one for Sydney, that for the Sixers in round 3, that you don't realise, because a lot of people are going to have Philippe, Edwards, Abbott, as well I probably will. And so Hayden Kerr might go under the radar because, but the problem with that is that Hayden Kerr, much to the same of Abbott to a certain extent, could Hayden Kerr only get an over or 2 is the big problem? Because when you think about it, you've got Bird Edwards, let me just do this. Bird, Edwards, Hussein in round 3. Oopsie, as you can see my hand. Hussein, and then probably Chohan or Murphy. That's already 4 guys bowling 4 overs. Then you've got Hayden Kerr. Let me just show you. It's probably going to be easy to show you on this. If we go here, Sydney Sixers. I forgot about Ben DeWashers. That was the guy I was forgetting about. But you got 1 pacer, 2 pacer, 3 pacer. Joel Davies will be replaced by, I think at this time, Daniel Hughes, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Curtis Patterson, but that point stands. Then you've got Edwards is the, 4th pacer? 1, 2, 3. 4th pacer. Then you're going to have Murphy. Is this going to be replaced by Akil Hussain? Because if so, that would be 2 spinners and 4 pacers before even considering Hayden Kerr. But if Joel Davies is just replaced by a Daniel Hughes, and then Akil Hussain replaces potentially Jackson Bird or potentially a Hayden Kerr himself. That's why I just wait and watch with him, to be honest with you. Then we get, Henriquez. I don't expect him to get much overs. Just looking at that, we just said that there were 6 genuine all-rounders there, or bowlers at the Sixers, so I don't think he gets overs, or maybe 1 or 2, but it's not going to make much of a difference. Hussain not playing. And then we get to Marcus Stoinis, and this is the biggest, might as well just have him type of player at this point. He's going to probably score better than like a Paris or like a Mackenzie, I would sort of expect at this point, given that he's probably going to get 3 overs plus also bat 4 or 5. And so he could easily just just score a 40 off 10. Oh, sorry, not 40 off 10, a 40 off 20. And then another like 20 off 15. And then suddenly he's 65 or so runs, 60 runs, and a strike rate bonus of like 30. He's suddenly on 90. Add in his bowling, say he takes 1 for. He's probably going to sit on about a 120, 130 of 2 games for just 60 odd runs and a wicket or so and a good strike rate bonus. So that's how easy he can just sort of drum it up, Marcus Stoinis. So I think he's, especially with the injuries to Maxwell and the selection of Webster in the test squad, I think you got to have him there. And with Mackenzie rather than Osama Mir, I think he might get maybe an extra over, give or take. But also you have Steketee and Paris who can also stink it up. So I think he gets overs there anyway. So yeah, he's a guy that I think you got to have. And then we have a massive gap of 25 or 26k to Bazley. Bazley at 58.5k. I just don't think he gets games, to be honest with you, simply put. If we go to the Adelaide Strikers lineup here, they've got Doggett, Thornton, Boyce, Nielsen, and then I have Fabian Allen in here. Maybe they go, and this is where Bazley could get games. But also, if you think about it, they've got 3, Jamie Overton 4, and then also Matt Short 5. They may not even have to have another bowler in here, because they could just say Darcy Short as the 6th bowler, etc. Here, I feel like I'm sort of missing someone. But yeah, they've got 4 genuine batters there, plus the keeper as well, so that's 5. And also, I wonder if Harry Nielsen even bats 7 and Fabian Allen 8. But if Fabian Allen's there, I don't think Bazley's going to necessarily play it. To be honest with you, Jamie Overton, I think, will bat 6 until Pope's there, and then he'll slide to 7. But yeah, I just think that you see the value there. And I just don't think that Bazley plays, to be honest with you, unless they play him over. Weatherald's in too good form. You're not dropping Lynn. You're not dropping Short. So are you going to drop Alex Ross, who's a really good middle order batter for Bazley? I don't think so. I haven't really seen James Bazley been performing. Let me just check if he's had anything good this year in club cricket, as I don't think I've seen him much in the Shield or anything there. So let's go to this one and see. That's his old profile as well. Let's go to his new profile. There we go. And then go to this one. 22 matches in 24-25, and he is averaging 32 with the bat and 25 with the ball. And it's probably just one big long form knock, I would think. Just looking at here, there's not many. A T20 Sport 62 off 45, a 76 off 50. So he's actually been performing in the T20 format of it for club. But realistically speaking, I'm looking at this going, he's had 3 good knocks effectively in everything. And one of them was an 86 off 33 in a club game, first grade game. And then with the bowling department here, just looking at it here, Domestically, hasn't bowled too well. 1 for 54 in grade, none for 36, 1 for 19 in the T20, none for 38, none for 14, 2 for 16 off 4, that's a decent enough performance, 2 for 19 off a longer format, 1 for 5, 1 for 16, 2 for 22 off his 4 in a first grade game, 2 for 24 off 4 in another first grade game, 1 for 40. So just looking at this here, I'm just seeing this and going, his performances aren't the greatest. Nothing really. It's just 1 or 2 wickets sort of consistently in each game for first grade. And that's also in like longer format games as well. I just don't think he gets a nod there, to be honest with you. Mitch Owens, I think similar type of problem for him is that he just doesn't get the nod for Hobart. Hobart's there. So yeah, you can just see here, I just don't see him getting the nod over Chris Jordan or Chowdhury or Tim David, sort of that region. And I think the bowlers are pretty set in stone, so I just don't see him getting a nod. Maybe over Wakeham, but then again, that's pushing Chowdhury up to 4. Tim David probably stays at 5, and then you'd have the likes of Mitch Owen at 6. Is that really enough batting depth? I don't think so. So, because you kind of want a genuine batting all-rounder at 6, if not a batter at 6. And I just don't know if they necessarily have that. So that's why I don't think Mitch Owens will play. But they could prove me wrong. Spores, I actually have playing at the moment, I believe, for Perth. Just because of the injury to Agar and Connolly. And once Connolly's fit or Agar, they just return to 7, and as simple as that. So Spores is not an option, I don't think. Joel, I have him playing at the moment, but I don't think he'll do too much, to be honest with you. I think he bats 7 or 8 and then probably bowls 1 or 2 overs if that, but he's going to get replaced by Dan Hughes if he is playing, and let alone he could just not be selected. Merlot, maybe he actually gets games now, thinking about this for Merlot. He probably shouldn't, but given that we have these 2 guys out, Bo Webster and Maxwell, Osama Mir's out, Ben Duckett's out till round 2, and Ben Duckett will just replace Joe Clark. Scotty Boland, a bowler, is with the Oz squads. Campbell Callaway and John Merlot are probably the 2 guys that go up. I would sort of expect, now thinking about it, Cartwright 3, Stoinis 4, Callaway 5, Merlot 6, maybe even Merlot 7, Harper 6, if you're looking at it on screen on those on YouTube. For those on Spotify, it is. The current order that I have is Clark, Rogers, Webster, Maxwell, Stoinis, Cartwright, Harper, and then Curran. And maybe even they push up Curran and they go for an extra bowler. Maybe that's the way, and they get Brodie Couch in. But you can kind of see how I'm thinking about this going. It all comes down to how do they view Curran as a batter, and how do they view sort of Merlot in terms of his batting capability. Is Merlot there just to make up the numbers, or is he truly there as just the replacement for Maxwell and Webster? Because that's sort of what I'm considering at the moment. And then behind that, you've got, I think, just Jack Wood. I don't expect him to get games, to be honest with you. Or do I have him in their starting line? I do have him in their starting lineup just because you've got Khawaja, Labuschagne, and McSweeney out. And I don't expect them to have Bartlett, Kuhneman, Johnson, Swepson, and also Webster or press switch as part of their tail. That is just way too long of a tail looking at it. So I think they go with a genuine a batter or bowling all-rounder at 6-7 again, just to fill in with the whole of Nessa being out early, I believe. And then Salzman, the last guy here, just don't expect him to get games unless both Ferguson and also another guy goes down. As if Ferguson goes down, I expect Wes Agar to fill in the hole there. You'd probably need another 2 injuries because I think Hatcher is probably ahead of Salzman. There, so you need a couple more injuries, to be honest with you, especially with Sam's playing at the moment, and they can have Madison roll the arm over as well as Ollie Davies to fill a couple of overs there. But anyway, I think that's the all-rounders. I thought it would be a longer video given that it feels like all-rounders are so much more crucial, but then again, there's only 28 of them rather than like the 50 or 60 bowlers, etc. I think there's more bowlers than there are all-rounders, I think. But anyway, if you did enjoy that video on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And if you did enjoy that video on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating so that you know when I upload more in the future. And I guess I will see you guys on the Sunday now for probably something related to BBL SuperCoach maybe an update video again, given the chaos that we've had in the last sort of week or so, and include the T10 scores, etc. that we've had in the last week. And that'll probably be an update video for you guys, given that I haven't given you one for the last little bit. But anyway, I'll see you guys in that video. Bye guys.